Warm welcome, a warm good evening. This is Arunfoot, and you are on my YouTube channel, arunfoot. Sorry about yesterday. I had announced that I would be doing a live yesterday, but sadly couldn't do that due to some work commitments, which came up at the last second. And yeah, we're back today to talk about the Euros and talk about what is happening on the Indian football front. Welcome, Kumar. Debru wants to talk about ISL. Yeah, we can talk about ISL transfers, but again, I think the transfer market per se is not as active, as interesting as most people think. It's the time's come to announce, the confirmed transfers in the market. So therefore, we'll be talking about those. Maybe the one or the other, which have been announced by clubs. I think the big announcement yesterday and today were first yesterday announcing Mumbai City that Apuya would be leaving, and today the confirmation that Apuya has signed for Mohun Bagan Super Giant, while Jeremy Mansoro has joined Mumbai City today, formally and officially. Well, at the Euros, we are into the last round of matches, the third round of matches of the group stage, and currently playing are France versus Poland, as well as Netherlands versus Austria. And as things look, France-Poland is 0-0. Poland already out, while the Netherlands are losing with 1 goal to Austria. So, yeah, makes it a very interesting group overall. So let's wait and see what happens. When did Apuya receive the offer from him? Do you have an idea? Deborah, I think the offer was made rather recently. I don't think that there were a lot of conversations about this transfer going on early on. I don't think that it was, sort of a big planned thing. It was something which cropped up. There was an opportunity, and Mohun Bagan grabbed that opportunity, and the player agreed to it. That's it. As simple as that. And therefore, let's wait and see what Apuya can do in the new season for Mohun Bagan Super Giants. This is fun, literally qualified without any of their players scoring a goal. Yeah, well, that's the situation as it stands at this moment. 3 matches, 1 goal, and that's an own goal by Austria. So let's wait and see what the French do. Now, do you have any information regarding the list of coaches who applied? There is information about coaches apart from the few ISL coaches. Kumar, I think the first thing one needs to talk about is, one of the things that one needs to talk about is certain coaches want that information out, that they are in the market for that job potentially. I think those who are seriously looking at the job, looking at the opportunity of becoming India head coach, they will most probably not be in the market to inform themselves about it. So that's it. That's the situation as it stands at the moment. But I've heard from a few coaches personally who have shown a serious interest in the job, but I don't know if they're going to get it or not. But there is some interest. Let's put it this way. Just one second.
I don't know how you.
Hi, I'm good. Akshata, how are you doing?
Very well.
Good to see you again. It's not going well for the Liverpool players, I guess, at the Euros at the moment. Let's see what happens. But another conversation. You and I and Hiren were talking a little earlier about this whole Steamer saga, which sort of seems to be reaching its climax.
Yeah.
So therefore, what's your take on that?
So I had a question on this, Arnav. In the entire statement, I did feel that there were certain points that could have been ignored. Like there was certain, in my opinion, I could be completely wrong, that they felt personal. So can that go against the AIFF? Or according to you, it was all proper?
I see if it's proper or not. The problem is with if this thing goes to court is it depends on the judge. And to me, that sometimes is a problem. Is that does the judge know enough to be able to make that judgment? Does he
Mm.
understand the matter on hand?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you know, you look at it from a legal standpoint. It depends how good your lawyer is. If I look at all of those things, so therefore, for me, um, I think um, the AFF is trying to sort of safeguard itself, and I feel and I felt that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I felt they've actually done a quite good job with that release.
And how long I mean, if it goes to court, how long do these matters generally take to resolve?
Depends on where they go. If they go to FIFA, if they go to CAS, uh, uh, I think it could take 3 months. It could take up to 12 months, depending on how you want to sort it. But I think it could take a little bit of time. But again, I think the AFF has done something which also does not put itself in its best light. I say I tweeted something. Sorry, I put something on Instagram earlier today regard to what has been put out by a German media outlet, which in its Euro summary of football puts it up. So therefore, we are not being seen in a good light, and I think that's something which is very, very hurtful. I would at least
Yeah.
think and say.
Yeah. Yeah.
One second. Is there any rumor of Budo or John Toral true? Devrup Toral could be. Budo, I don't still know. Let's see. Murray asks, will any foreign coach apply for a job after seeing Steamach in AFF, or else nobody apply? It doesn't matter what happened to Steamach. It's a lot of coaches have already applied. A lot of coaches want to apply for job. I mean, it is still a big job. The question, and there will be big names applying. So, if I would say, the job is not easy, or the old coach was strong, for me, then nobody, for example, would apply for the Man United job, let's say, or for the, why would, in this situation, why would someone apply for the Barca job? So therefore, it is something which I feel is, those are the realities of things, and
And some people like challenges also, right?
yeah. Sorry, I think the AFF is one of the biggest challenges in world football, and country of 1.4 billion. I think Bob Houghton once said it very, very well. He took on the two biggest challenges that there is in world football. That's China and that's India. He coached in the NSL in North America. So therefore, it is a challenge. And therefore, let's wait and see if the right coach is appointed. I think that's going to be a difficult one for the AFF, but I hope they take the right decision. And certain people will be outpriced of the market. So let's wait and see whoever comes in or who doesn't.
Yeah.
What a major problem you see in AFF? Murray, where do I start? Where do I stop? I could do a whole, monologue now for I don't know how many days, hours, weeks. On a serious note, no, but on a serious note, I think it is a problem, and one has to wait and see what happens. But I think leadership is one of the issues. I think this letter is a sign to me which shows that potentially that things might be changing for good. And let's wait and see. Again, leadership is one. The AFF has financial issues, but this is not something that they've been having since yesterday. So therefore, for me, the challenge is how do you sort out those challenges in the given scenario? So therefore, that's an interesting scenario to be in.
Yeah.
Kumar says, and now the press statement from the AFF mentioned that by September we should have a new coach. I think there is no interim coach for Indian football. Kumar, let's wait and see. Let's see what again, everyone is wanting to know, who is the new coach, who is running for the coach. It's like with the transfer market, right? Let's wait and see what happens. I think that it is not an easy situation, and it's a challenging situation for the federation. So let's wait and see who they are able to convince, who are they able to get and sign, and then let's wait and see. I think we can. I think wait and watch. Again, there are certain names being pushed around. Let's see if they are the ones that are going to go and be the ones in the final running.
Yeah.
What's your take on this from you? Is too much of speculation, Akshata?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's all about speculations only, and whatever we are talking with regards to Igor is also, it's not that we didn't know about it. It's just more or less repetition of the same thing. That's what's happening. And speculations anyway, I'm not a fan of speculations. You know, even with the Liverpool transfer scene, I never really I mute the keyword, the names of the players who start to come up, because I don't want to know about this. Whenever it happens, we'll get to know. There are bigger matters that we have to concern ourselves with, and as fans, we don't really have a say in कि किसको आना चाहिए, किसको नहीं आना चाहिए. We can put out some options, but it's not something that we have to bother ourselves with. So whoever is appointed for both, we have to also remind ourselves that both the men's national team and the women's senior national team need foreign coaches right now. So, and when hopefully, even the women's senior team gets a coach soon, a new coach soon, so that whenever that happens, we'll get to know about it. What to speculate?
I think that's a huge challenge. That's a huge challenge for football in India in regard to what is being done, how are we moving forward, and that's a huge challenge. It's a huge challenge, and let's wait and see. Molly says Vietnam, Malaysia, we used to beat them in past. Right now, they are far ahead. Malaysia draw Korea. Vietnam is giving tough match. What have they done to grow this much? I think Vietnam is focused on its youth and grassroots, and Malaysia has also done the same thing. And to me, especially Malaysia has also integrated players of origin. I mean, the rise of a number of Southeast Asian countries has been due to the fact of integration of players of origin. Indonesia's league has always been decent in an Asian level, but they've never been that good. So therefore, for these countries, the introduction of players of origin has made most of these countries a lot better. And they're not the top level footballers who play. Indonesia has some top level footballers, but Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand, and all, they have rather mid-level players who've come in. So that has made a huge difference.
I know you spoke about the grassroots level. Indian football also celebrated their second grassroots day. Do you have any information of how it was actually, if any activations or activities were done on that day? Because I did come across a post, didn't really explain a lot. I don't have hope, but I just wanted to clarify.
See, the AFC has a football day, which is also focused on grassroots, and to me, the same thing is happening with the AFF, and I think a lot of grassroots has happened over the last 5-7 years. Let's be honest about that, which did not exist. The question is how you're going to grow it to a level that is competitive, or actually is mass involved to funnel kids through to the top of the system. That's the challenge. So therefore, to me, the combination of both is going to be a real test for Indian football, I think, in regard to where are we going to go in the long run. And that's a huge challenge. I feel that's a huge challenge, to try and grow the game to the level where we want it, where we need it, so to say, to grow also. And that's the challenge. That's the challenge in the short, mid, long term, to grow Indian football to the level that we think it needs to grow, so that Indian football can be more successful. And therefore, to me, very, very clearly, these kind of events are important to raise awareness. But what happens during this day and what happens after it, I think that's very, very important.
There's also accreditation. AFF has also asked the academies to apply for accreditation. So what is the process like? Can you tell us more about that?
See, the accreditation process, it's good that it's back, because it was sort of stopped under the interim regime, to raise academies who want to be part of the system to a certain level, to a certain standard. And that's a challenge. So therefore, for me, it's a question of how do we best have organized football at youth level with a certain minimum standard of, regard to infrastructure, regard to players, coaches, accreditation, all those things, coaching licenses, so that we can sort of compare, the standard of what it is.
But there's no limit, right? Like if there are maybe 100 club academies that are applying for it, and all 100 of them are good, they all will get it, right? There's no limited
Yeah.
number of
At the moment, we don't have enough. Let's say we have a ceiling of, I don't know, let's say 200 academies, right? Then you'll have to say, listen, have to be A grade or B grade or C. You've got the star system as well, right? So therefore, then you could say, listen, if you've got the lowest level maybe in a certain region, you're not good enough because you've got too many clubs. Then you could come this. At the moment, I think all of them, all of the clubs need to be involved. Whoever passed the test, but again, you have to grow. I think that's the huge challenge.
Yeah.
Kumar wants to know, Navada, I did not follow the ISL that much during Jose Molina in the start of ISL. Now that rigid with tactics, or he will change system according to the players. Kumar, we will see, because Habas also was very rigid with his tactics, and Habas last season was very flexible with his tactics and played according to what he was needed. So therefore, even rigid coaches, I think, sometimes wake up to realities of Indian football. So let's wait and see. Vignesh says, my thought, ISL club director, CEO, take AFF presidential role. Okay. Interesting, Vignesh. I don't know how if these people would want to leave. It's like, ISL coaches who are, in the running of, or thinking that they're in the running for the national team. At the ISL, clubs do fulfill a lot of the wishes that the coaches have. The AFF will not and cannot do that. So therefore, these are realities that we need to remember when you're trying to push someone in that position. Sorry. Amar says, is there any update on coach? Amar, we're still very early in the process. So therefore, no, there is no update. Shashank, Hamza Chaudhary will play for Bangladesh. Will SAF quality increase with Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bangladesh with players of origin? Can India compete with these new teams? Hamza will play. The question now is, can he get his passport quick enough to be playing anytime soon? That's the first question that needs to be asked. And if that happens, then, Hamza Chaudhary will certainly strengthen Bangladesh, and he's not the only one. There might be others joining Bangladesh in the near future. The same as, again, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan already have done that and are still in the process. So therefore, yeah, they'll be competing with India. And if India doesn't wake up out of its sort of slumber or whatever we are in at the moment, we will have problems against those nations. I don't know what you think, Akshata, but again, we need to wake up, right? Not only in men's game, but also in the women's game as well. Bangladesh has been improving a lot. And Pakistan already has players of origin playing for them in the women's national team. Bangladesh will do that as well. So therefore, all of the teams are getting tougher for us.
Yeah, and with regards to women's team, there's a camp starting tomorrow. We have matches, friendlies in July. So let's see, how much this camp helps us, and we must try to see what the both the upcoming matches, and see how to what extent these camps are helping our athletes, because we'll have to sooner or later start to question what's happening in the camps.
Exactly, I think that's one of the interesting parts also of the statement of the federation, right? That players had informed them about the issues surrounding the coach. So that I found very interesting as well.
But again, like the wahi hai, I know it is they've admitted that the extension shouldn't have happened, but the question has to be asked, right? That why is it that we tolerated all of this for so long?
Yeah.
I think there's some technical issue on Arnav's end. He's back.
Sorry. Gabriel wants to know any other Pavlo Safranco is a forward. No, I've not heard of the name. Sorry, Debru. Arito says, don't you think the central problem with AFF football in general in India boils down to one factor called money? No, Arito, money is not the problem. If you see, for example, in an ISL context, we are paying good money. Money is not the problem. The problem is that where is that money being used and how is it being spent? We are spending most of the money on the players. and that is something which needs to be rectified. Otherwise, things will not get better. I think that's the concern I have with the AFF Indian football. That if you don't rectify those mistakes, nothing will help.
Yeah.
Right?
And there's no will to make money also. Like for instance, the home kit of the new season was launched. Where's the away kit? Have did we forget to launch that? Or there are women's team matches coming up. Maybe we can launch it then. Is there any plan to do it? Is there any plan to sell those jerseys online? No.
Yeah. Murali asks, Korea, Japan, these teams can threaten top European teams while rest of Asia can't compete. I think Korea, Japan have been doing this for decades now. And to me, the Japanese and the Koreans are very structured and organized, and their best players play in Europe. That is also a difference, right? Their best players play in the leagues in Europe and are regulars. So therefore, and their youth systems are competitive. Again, it's via school and via college, and that's why they're good. So that's the reason why the Japanese and the Koreans are good.
I don't know with regards to this. I mean, we often talk about that sports culture in schools is missing, but in general also, like the discipline culture that these countries have. I mean, the way they start to teach kids to be more independent in at a younger age, all of that also. I mean, when we're talking about the school culture, I feel that we tend to ignore that aspect of like the overall development of kids. We focus more on if they're involved in sports, but I think overall development of the kids also is something that we can learn from these countries.
100%. 100%. I think that there's a difference between the way they manage things and they organize things. But then, we need to have a general conversations. Why are countries much better than us in sports? Even small countries, poor countries. And then again, it's not just about the money. It's about the will, the desire, the coaching, the application. So many factors come in. Versus, how do you rate Indian coach, foreign coach? What are the major difference? I think experience and exposure. I think that's the biggest difference between an Indian and a foreign coach. And those are key things to me. And otherwise, otherwise, again, exposure, experience, and also Indian players, if people like it or not, that's another reality. Indian players prefer to have a foreign coach. This is a question that nobody's going to ask, but this is a reality. If you can get a foreign coach, and he's decent, you have to get a foreign coach because the players prefer someone like him. So these are the realities of things. Shayan says, congratulations for 1.2K. Thank you. Whom do you prefer, an Indian coach or foreign coach, or Indian coach for seniors, foreign coaches for juniors? Your thoughts? I think ideally, if we had the money, I would put in foreign coaches in the whole system. Men's and women's, seniors and juniors. That would be the best. If so therefore, let's wait and see. But for me, foreign coaches are better, more equipped. And again, there is this issue of respect of Indian footballers. If I like it or not, that's a reality. That's what my learning has been of interacting with people, with the players, that they prefer a foreigner over an Indian. Shanson, there's a saying going on. Nagelsmann is struggling with Germany's squad. What do you think when the team is going good? Why such media reports? Who said squad depth is an issue for Germany? Germany's squad depth got them a draw against Switzerland. So, yeah, I don't know where you get it. Let's wait and see. But at the moment, let's see who we'll know by tonight who the opponent will be on Saturday in Dortmund, and let's wait and see what happens. Sambit says, do you think CFL has dropped its quality, has become joke? Teams are getting 4, 5 to 10 days max for preparation compared to structured leagues of Bangalore, Kerala, another gap of 4 days. Sambit, the reality is in Kolkata, there are so many commitments, and once the I-League and ISL start, the teams don't want to play. So it's a problem for the IFA. So therefore, the IFA has scheduled it in such a way, and the smaller teams want to have the league finished in 3-4 months. So therefore, they start very early. They started tonight, actually, to be right. and they will try and finish it in such a way that they'll finish before the pujas. So these are realities. Sorry, guys. Allergy. Kumar wants to know. Now the FIFA president said we are sleeping giant. India do not want to wake up. If someone want to wake up, we ignore them or keep them first. While India want to sleep forever. See, Kumar, I remember how that phrase came about 17 years ago. That was, I was there in Johannesburg when Sepp Blatter made that very, very famous comments. And I was one of the people that he pointed to when he said, India is here in the global football world. And, but India is a sleeping giant. And he showed it. It's like India is a sleeping giant. And India needs to do this and slowly get up and wake up. So it's very interesting analogy that he created. And that's been, been said multiple times over the years. But the point here is, do we want to wake up? And who is going to wake up? Who is going to take us forward? That is the question, which needs to be asked. The leadership, again, it comes to leadership. If the right leadership wants to take us forward, it will happen. It will take time. It will not happen tomorrow or day after, but it will happen at some stage. And that is the challenge I think that Indian football has, right, Akshata?
Yeah, definitely. There has to be a will from top to bottom to see us, do better.
Shashank said 1 out of 3 women who won Croatia Cup are called up for the Myanmar friendly camp. How can coach ignore this, and when will Federation put an eye on women's football? What's your take on this?
I mean, there can be other reasons also because of which they are not called up. Maybe like and the list that was shared is a probable list. We don't have the final list of players who will be playing again in the friendly against Myanmar. So maybe maybe they do join us, join the camp which is starting tomorrow. So let's give them some time. Maybe I think that can be the reason.
Yeah, agree. I think that could be a reason of that. Gaurav, do you think all the states of India should be involved in football development? I think 7-8 states, including union territories, are enough. Gaurav, you can't just say, hey, listen, I am focusing on state A. I will not do it on state B or state C. That's it is the way it is, right? So therefore, we have to see how you build your system, your structure. And from that perspective, I feel that that you can't say, listen, I will, let's say, focus on Mizoram, Manipur, Bengal, Goa, Kerala. Odisha comes in because of the government support, and then I'm sort of done. It won't happen. You'll have to focus. Orithros says, I meant income of money. Suppose if I was economically beneficial, possible, I had the potential financial or at least competitive in Asia. As of now, ISL and Indian football is a financial disaster. See, the ISL being a beneficial prospect can only happen once there is television rights. And we don't have television rights in Indian football. I think that's the challenge. As long as there are no television rights and which earns you a certain aspect of revenue, it will not happen. And that's the big challenge in Indian football. The biggest, because if the ISL was making money, then that money would trickle down the system. And that is that is automatic, which happens around the world. So therefore, the ISL, first of all, the ISL has to survive. I think that's the first question that needs to be asked. Does the ISL survive next year? If the Alliance anyway think that they're pulling out, and then we'll have to see what happens. Right? So that's the crunch question in regard to football. Murari asks, administration plays huge role in Indian football. If administration proper, do you think they compete best team in Asia? Murari, if the administration was right, we would be better. Would we be able to challenge the best in Asia? I don't know. I don't think so. Because for that to happen, we will need 15, 20 years. It will not happen overnight. This unrealistic thought that, 2 things are sorted and then everything will be fine. There's so many things which need to be looked at. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, and also we have to remember that all these other countries are also taking efforts towards going forward. So it's like if we start today and we are walk, you start to walk today, they are ahead of us, and but they're still walking ahead. So it's not that just because we start to do well, the gap will decrease. That's not going to magically happen. We'll have to work twice as hard.
Exactly. I think that's something. Murali then asked, do you think infrastructure and administration is a huge problem compared to if they have good infrastructure and administration? I think our infrastructure is not that bad. I think that's a myth that I feel a lot of people have, that our infrastructure is bad. At grassroots, our infrastructure is a problem because we don't have enough infrastructure. But at the top level, we could compete most probably with Brazil and Argentina sometimes with our level of infrastructure. So therefore, guess that's another reality check. I think we need to just be
Yeah.
better overall.
Yeah, and this tendency of I mean, the more I'm reading about some other athletes, I feel that even like this, the athletes that we celebrate, they have gone through such terrible times in their own lives. They've seen poverty, for that matter. They've emerged from all of that. It's not that all of them come from very fully developed countries.
And that's the thing. One of those things, right? A good administration doesn't mean that you'll be successful, but a good administration helps.
Yeah,
I say good example at the moment to me is the German FA, which has done a lot of things right. Uh, you know, uh, um, to me, that certainly the buzz is different around the team than it was, let's say, around the 2022 World Cup, or around the Euros in 2021 to 2020 Euros. So therefore, administration plays a part. Infrastructure, surely there can always, and there should be more. I think that's one thing. But the reality at the moment is it isn't as bad. The administration, the infrastructure isn't as bad, but the administration could do better. And that's the challenge. Gaurav wants to know Hyderabad FC future. Same, Jyotika is asking the same question. Guys, at the moment uh, 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 um, there is no update. I think that's the biggest concern about Hyderabad FC, that there is no update. And a lot of deadlines have been made. A lot of journalists have said, "Oh, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, and this is ready to happen." Uh, uh, um, so therefore, for me, as long as there's no information officially coming out and saying, this has happened or that's happened, um, it looks very bleak regarding Hyderabad FC, to be very, very honest. That's the scary part, I would think, to say that Hyderabad might not have a future, because at the moment, as things stand, um, looks very difficult. Looks very, very difficult. Looks very, very bleak. Yeah, someone says Austria leading the Dutch, French looking average is best. Yeah, France, Poland 0-0, Dutch losing to Austria. Austria, one of the dark horses. So let's see what happens in this group. Looks very interesting now at halftime.
I know I had a question about the around the friendlies against Myanmar. How do you think, because after the last set of matches, there were mixed opinions where some people wanted our senior experienced players to get a chance. Some people wanted the younger players to get an opportunity to, to make the most of this opportunity. How do you think we should be approaching these two matches?
Um, See, if you're playing two matches, maybe in the first one play the seniors, and then the second one let the juniors run in or mix it. There are means and ways of looking at it in different ways, but one has to find solutions to the problems, to the issues, and you don't have that much of a settled team at the moment. I feel in the women's national team side, I think that there are too many sort of flexibilities, in the team. So therefore, for me, yeah, one has to find solutions, and for that, friendlies are the best way. The things that we said about Steamach and the men's team, that he wasn't using his sort of fringe players, bench players, that hurt him in the long run. Yeah, that's the problem at the moment. Murali, who do you think good technical player in Indian football, Sahal or Brandon? See, both of them are technically good. Overall, as a footballer, I would prefer Brandon over Sahal. because he's more mature and a more finished footballer, I would say, if you compare it to. Kumar asked Anavada, how many states are really conducting state league properly? We can count on fingers. I think some states are not interested in conducting state. Just give them money who are working on drafting state leagues. Kumar, I think again, a lot of states are holding leagues these days, even smaller leagues. Smaller states, smaller football states. But the point here is, you have to look at it from an AFF standpoint, and then you can't just brush aside, say, this is only you guys are doing it, the rest isn't. So therefore, let's wait and see what happens. Neil says, Neil D'Souza, problem AFF exactly knows what is wrong with Indian football, does nothing about it. Sometimes I think there are certain people who don't know what the problems are, Neil. I don't think that everybody knows what the problems are because they are so, themselves that they don't want to see the problem. Sorry. Maybe a little hard. Kumar Ornavada, what are they going to shut after saying investors are coming? Are they coming for last 6 months? Kumar, they've been saying that investors are coming for the last 2 years. So therefore, that's what I'm saying. Anyone who says, even Marcus says, news is coming. As I always say, as long as it's not confirmed, we can't say anything.
But from a business perspective, how can a partial or full acquisition happen in such situations when there's no source of making profits in the long run, when we see that the league in itself is also struggling to survive? Technically, do these things happen? Like, can we actually expect an investor to come on board and show interest here?
See, the point is that's the reality, right? I think one should applaud anyone who's willing to come forward and put money into Indian football, right? So to me, that is a factor in saying, we are talking about a lot of things, but people forget that, if people are unwilling to put money into Indian football, then nothing will happen. And I think that's the challenge, I think, with Indian football, that we need people to will, with the will, the desire to come forward and put money into the system. But otherwise, again, if you and I say, listen, we're going to put in 10 rupees, we know that those 10 rupees are gone.
And are there any restrictions as such? Are there any restrictions as such? Like, if a foreign investor wants to come on board, is there any percentage that they can acquire, or they are free to acquire 100%?
There are rules and regulations on that, but again, I think they will not stop it because of that. Because again, if foreign investor wants to come in, I think anyone would be happy to have someone, and then they will work it out most probably with the concerned authorities to allow that investment. Samath, what about AFF banning private tournaments, saying AFF registered players and referees cannot participate, but how will these local tournaments with money? Indian players need these. No, Indian players don't. Samath, if anyone is telling you that, then he or she doesn't know what he or she is talking about. We've had now many players in different competitions playing these, and again, if I look at the level of football, if any footballer says he's badly paid in an Indian context, sorry, all of you are overpaid, right? Sorry to say this harshly, it doesn't matter if it's the top who are getting in crores or the others earning in lakhs or in thousands. None of you deserve the money you receive. You're not good enough, right? And the AFF needs to clamp down on these, because you've had now the situation, especially with Cape in Bengal, that you had a whole I-League team playing in that tournament. And the club made money on that, and because they were not in a position to play that level of football. So we need to be... Then there needs to be a rule of law. India is like the Wild West. Indian football very often is the Wild West. And whenever these rules are put in...
In regards to this, a lot of people came forward, like a lot of content creators also came forward, and a lot of other people also in the system came forward and said that how this is something that supports Indian football, and that narrative has been put in the public domain.
Indian football?
One, like it was mentioned that this is how this person made money back in the day.
Listen, I know national team players who took up a second job, a third job without the requirement of having that second or third job, of being appointed for here or this. You know? The problem is that you have to have a system. Again, I remember the clubs fought when the club licensing was started 10, 12 years ago. Now it's the norm. The system needs to be created. I think we need to educate people. I think the AFF has come out with this, which is very good. But the AFF then needs to come out and educate people and make them understand why these rules are coming in. Indian football, if it wants to succeed in the long term, you have to bring in everybody in some sort of structure. You can't have wild, wild west mentality. That is one of our biggest problems. And that is hurting Indian football the most.
And I also think that, the straightaway banning term also, people tend to nowadays take it in a different way altogether.
The problem is in today's world, a lot of people, bother about money more than about their careers. You see that when the players sign for an ISL team at 17, 18, 19, rather than saying, you know what, let me play maybe in an I-League team and then go up to the, ISL team. So it's all about the money. And that's the reality. It's all about the money. Nobody cares about the football. Not even the players. That is the question that you should be asking. That is the real question that should be asked, right? Should be asked also to these people who are defending these tournaments, right? Because these tournaments doesn't help Indian football. Munali, do you think Indian players get panicked when they face bigger team, Australia, Qatar, when they're used to this tempo, ISF exposed big level? They don't panic. I don't think they panic, but it's just that the realization on the pitch is that you're playing against players who are better than you on all fronts. That's what comes in. If we would panic, we would lose 6, 7, 8 nil, which we haven't, luckily. Sir, your view on Mumbai signing Hardik Butt? Last season he played well whenever he got. Also, any news regarding left back or Mumbai? I heard that they're planning to bring back former player on loan. Let's wait and see. Mumbai's talking to a lot of players, and yes, there could be some players coming into the system. Someone said, could kids fall in love with these tournaments where the local hero participates? This will hurt the football in India since AFF doesn't organize tournaments now. Only 7, 8 state FA is working. Exactly, that's not the case. This is also a narrative that 7, 8 states are only working. I think that a lot of more states are actually forced to do state leagues for their top clubs to be able to play in the I-League 3 or I-League 2. So therefore, that again, the system needs to be created. System needs to work. And again, I don't buy this local hero stuff because that's something that people tell me also in Germany. There is no local hero. It's about the global superstars. People care about Ronaldo, Messi, Neymar, Mbappe, Haaland, whatever, more than about the local kids. These local tournaments, why aren't these local tournaments structured? And why does a player have to play for 2, 3, 4, 5 clubs or entities? They're not even clubs, they're entities. So therefore, we need to talk about that. That is the conversations we need to have. The structure in Indian football is not right. And if we want to create a proper structure, then, there will be winners and there will also be losers. Sorry to say that. But that is a reality which we need to wake up. Right. Jyotikas, how do you rate the chances of Jamshedpur for the upcoming season? They've started building their team now a bit late. I think it's still early to say, but again, I think Jamshedpur will again be a team. Again, Khalid has extended his contract. So therefore, Jamshedpur will be a team certainly to watch. Roshan, have you followed development of Philippines women's football discussions of including homegrown players started there? Yeah, I think the thing is with Philippines men's and women's, the women's have played a World Cup because they brought in players of origin, right? And the men's teams were one of the first teams over a decade back when they were one of the worst teams in the world to start including players of origin. So therefore, and therefore, let's wait and see what happens. Sorry. One says China might be good test for Indian football if they're friendly regularly. Again, China is above us. So therefore, and why, again, regularly no one will play against us. That's another problem that fans need to understand. No one is waiting to play the Indian national team. It wasn't before. either you put in money on the table to play teams, or you've got other reasons you're that good that people want to play you, and we fulfill none of the two criteria. So nobody wants to play us. England has the best league, still they can't lift the trophy. Why can't they win the trophy? Well, because first, they don't have the best league. That's the first point that I would say. And yeah, because that's a myth that it's a nicely sold, I think. And secondly, the national team of England was never as good. And 1966, let's go back to that year, they robbed it from the Germans. So, you want to talk about bad refereeing? Let's talk about 1966 World Cup final. The main reason why Indian players won't go abroad is because of less money and less playing time. Yeah, but again, that means that you're overpaid, right? That's the summary of it, no? Anurag says, do you think AFF banning local tournaments is to add these tournaments as tournaments in collaboration with state FAs? Anurag, I'll be interested to see how you do that. I think they want to structure it in such a, the pyramid structure we have around the world. Football is the only sport which per se has one structure. You might have some parallel leagues here and there, but overall the structure is from the top to the bottom. Theoretically, if someone plays in the 10th, 12th division, you could theoretically rise to the first. In India, you don't have that. You can have local tournaments, but what these local tournaments are doing is you're playing, let's say, 1 week for this team, 2 weeks you're playing for that team, then you're playing for that. That's not football organized. That's grassroots. That is not organized football, and that differentiation needs to be made. And someone who's professional, who's getting money with that, he cannot be playing these tournaments. This is something which needs to be understood.
Yeah.
So
and also because these unorganized tournaments basically can cause severe injuries. Interestingly, nobody. All the narratives that were being put out, nobody tried to point that out.
Exactly. That's You've realized that, right? One thing forgot. Sorry, which I always should say. Subscribe, please, to Candid Sports, Akshada's channel. Please subscribe to arunfoot as well.
Thank you.
As always.
And like the video.
And like the video, because then more people might see it. Exactly. So therefore, more people join the discussions and conversations. Kumar says, I think co-investor is Rana Dagubati. If it is wrong, correct me. Yeah. First of all, I don't think he's an investor. I think he's only a brand ambassador. So therefore, that's a different thing. He's not a Jindal, a Tata, a City Football Group, or a Goenka. So first mistake. I think he's only been brought in as a face, and therefore is not an investor. The same thing is said about a lot of these celebrities who came in from season 1. That's the reality. What's your opinion, Mizam, finish about age fraud? Roshan, great, brilliant. Mizoram is doing what the rest of India should be doing, and some of the big mouths, the loud mouths, let's see what they say when these kind of things happen, because they get affected. And Hiren and I were talking about it this afternoon that the challenge is now to find means and ways of how to sort the system in a way that these kids can continue to play, but at the right age, that the 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds get a real chance and are not replaced by kids who are much, much older, So therefore, let's wait and see what happens. Have you read it, actually?
Yeah, I think and according to, for this, I think on the age fraud front, a lot of initiatives are being taken. So I was telling this to Hiren the other day, or I think I was telling this to you. It feels like, with people within the system are also so tired that they just want to now straight away address this issue, because, it's starting to do so much more harm.
Yeah. It's
Hiren
India's
also
biggest
here.
problem. Arey, sir.
Hi, Hiren.
Hello.
And Hiren, we were talking this afternoon about this Mizoram initiative.
मैंने सुना अभी आपने.
Repeat your opinion on that when we were speaking in the afternoon.
I think it's one of the, you can say, core issue in Indian football, and this needs to be addressed with a very, very serious, you can say, I would say, approach, and you need to, you can say, find a solution for it. And I think Mizoram FA started it, as they are started a many initiative in other fronts of the football development, like जिस तरह से वहाँ पे लीग होती है, और हमने देखा है there are lots of other good thing done by the Mizoram FA जो बाकी स्टेट एफएस को भी अपने स्टेट में इम्प्लीमेंट करनी चाहिए, या फिर उनसे
Let me quickly stop you there, Hiren. Just as info, the Netherlands is equalized on a player that Akshata most probably would like, Cody Gakpo with the equalizer. 1-1 Netherlands
Oh,
Austria.
nice.
बट नेदरलैंड तो सर आई थिंक राउंड ऑफ 16 में क्वालिफाई हो गया है ना, डिस्पाइट एनी रिजल्ट इन दिस मैच.
कोई
हाँ, सो मैं ये बोल रहा था कि मिजोरम एफए ने स्टार्ट किया, इट्स अ गुड इनिशिएटिव. लेट्स सी आई थिंक और कौन कौन लोग इसमें यहाँ पे फॉलो करते हैं. एंड आई थिंक मिजोरम एक ऐसा स्टेट पे कि जो अगर आप देखें नंबर वाइज, तो आप देखिए देर आर सेकंड नंबर पे है वो इन टर्म्स ऑफ द प्लेयर्स प्लेइंग इन आईएसएल. सो दैट शोस कि वहां से लॉट्स ऑफ प्लेयर्स कमिंग अप. सो आई थिंक वो इम्पैक्ट भी पड़ेगा, चाहे आप पुराने प्लेयर जितने आप रेक्टिफाई करते हो. एंड दूसरा एक जो हमने उस टाइम पे बात की थी कि चैलेंज ये है कि लेट्स सी कि क्या जो छोटी एकेडमीज या फिर जो भी एकेडमीज में मिजोरम के प्लेयर खेलते हैं, उनके कोचेस एंड क्या एकेडमी ओनर्स इन प्लेयरों को यहाँ पे अलाउ करते हैं टू रेक्टिफाई देयर एजेस. बिकॉज काफी सारे हमने देखा है कि एकेडमीज कोचेस यहाँ पे अपने पर्सनल अचीवमेंट के लिए या फिर ट्रॉफीज के लिए यहाँ पे मे भी प्रेशर भी डाल सकते कि अगर तुम यहाँ पे इस तरह की चीजें करोगे तो हम तुमको निकाल देंगे, वॉट एवर थिंग. तो मे बी वो भी इन्फ्लुएंस कर सकता है प्लेयर का डिसीजन कि भाई मैं यहाँ पे वॉलंटरीली यहाँ पे ये डिसीजन मतलब ये करूँ कि ना करूँ, वो सारी चीजें. सो लेट्स सी इसका आउटकम क्या आता है, बट इट्स अ वेरी सीरियस प्रॉब्लम एंड इट नीड्स टू बी एड्रेस्ड. जितना मतलब एज सुन एज यू एड्रेस्ड इट, आई थिंक वन ऑफ द फ्यू राइट थिंग्स यू कैन डू विथ इंडियन फुटबॉल.
Exactly. I think it's one of the biggest challenges in Indian football, and Kumar says I think we need to applaud and appreciate Mizoram and state government. They're saying we do not disclose your information who did age for while kids to visit correct their age. And I think it's an interesting one because I think a lot of the Mizo kids are playing across India. Hiren and I were talking in the afternoon about it. That I think that's the biggest challenge there is for these kids to come forward and say, you know what, I'm actually not, I don't know, 15. I'm actually 17, 18 or something. So therefore, that will be very interesting to see. And it again, yes, you will not disclose the information, but indirectly the information will come out when this kid suddenly plays in an older age group, right? So indirectly you will find out that whoever has been cheating. So therefore, I'm very interested to see how this pans out.
But at least,
but
they
it's a
would know that
challenge.
I mean, their career and interests are being safeguarded in a way. Even if
Yeah,
it's out.
it is, but again, we'll see how it works. 1 second. What was the next point before I forget? If there is accountability, Indian football will grow. Only coaches and players, same needs to be applied to administration. Morally, I think accountability needs to be also on the players and coaches across teams, national teams, everywhere. And I think accountability generally has been lost in Indian football. I think that's a big question that has never been asked at the moment, right? So therefore, for me, if we can get the accountability part sorted, then everything is potentially fine. So therefore, let's wait and see. But I don't know, accountability, Hiren, Akshata.
क्या होता है वो?
I mean, अभी भी मतलब there's so much that is happening, and I still feel that people will forget about it eventually. Like they'll find ways to distract us from the important issues, and then they'll continue to carry on.
Listen, we were discussing last year about Asian Games and calendar and all. Where is the accountability?
अकाउंटेबिलिटी नहीं है, इसीलिए तो ये सारे प्रॉब्लम है. वही तो सबसे बड़ी जड़ है. अगर वही होता तो ये चीज उसी टाइम फिक्स हो जाती, या फिर उसी टाइम आप उसको एड्रेस कर लेते. तो सब कुछ यहाँ पे बिगड़ने के बाद यहाँ पे बात आती है, तब भी अकाउंटेबिलिटी तो नहीं आती. सो दैट इज द वर्स्ट थिंग. सो वही तो नहीं है इंडियन फुटबॉल में भाई, नहीं तो कब का हम कुछ अच्छा कर दिए.
Yeah.
But Aruna, like since you have seen
So
Indian football for so many years now, and you've seen it through the different seasons and changes and under different leadership, do you think this time things are maybe different? Like the public reaction and want the will within some people to bring about a positive change.
I think the question is there something different? I will say no. This is history repeating itself. Younger people might think, oh, things are, there could be changes, there could be this, there could be that. But at the end of the day, the same thing is, uh, so therefore for me, if Indian football wants to change, like this initiative to fight age fraud, these kind of things are important because this is something which has not been there. These are the things which are important. I think that the AFF, as I always like to say, leadership, also live in the reality. Indian players are overpaid. The Puya transfer at the moment is another example of overpaid players, right? And this is a player with, if he wants to go abroad, what he demands, listen, you get 300 euros, join FC Remscheid, and you will most probably not play. That's the level of your football. And we need to be in the real world. We don't, again, if we want to dream about possession football and all that stuff that Steamach wanted to sell the fans, you want to buy it? Yeah, then we'll be as bad as we are at the moment. We will go nowhere. If you live in the real world and want to, the tough work, the hard work is done. Otherwise, things will not happen. And that is something, yeah, as hard as it might sound, but these are the realities. Someone says, so build more academies and center of excellence. Let the kids fail and try practice. Don't fill their heads with dreams, with trips to Europe. With trials, there are 8, 10, already many distractions. Yeah, very valid point, Samat. Couldn't agree more. Mohit says, Odisha has done incredible well in sports. If the same thing done in other states, India will come strong, but they fight for power. See, Odisha has done certain things, but Odisha has not done things, in hockey, yes, they have had. But is that success consistent? Right? You have to ask that. We've had blips, and you would rather now say 5, 6, 7 years down the road, most probably, that, that it's gone to a certain level and Odisha has done the most, but they've not really made world-class players in general. Sorry. What was needed. So therefore, that is one of those challenges. So therefore, I don't know, Odisha is. The fan says, what a video on Apuya today and waiting green and maroon jersey. Hugely pumped up. Yeah, let's see what has happened.
What do you say, sir, about that announcement where they, you can say, banter their rival?
They mock East Bengal. They mock East Bengal. I mean, East Bengal had it coming. Oh, penalty for France, foul on Dembele. So therefore, okay, will Mbappe break his jinx at the Euros? That's a big question. Thomas Müller and Kylian Mbappe, 2 players, loads of goals in World Cups, but never have scored in a Euro.
I need to go. Let's carry on. Sorry, I need to go, guys. Have a good night. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Banter is good, but East Bengal, the problem of East Bengal is that the player was never going to sign for you. And Mbappe scores 1-0 France. So to me, that is part of the problem of that discussion you would have to have with, with Indian football in regard to clubs, wanting to sign players, but do the players want to sign for them? Mona says politics often collide with Indian football. What about world football? Is there any fiction happening similar to? Yeah. It's the most normal thing in the world. It happens in every football nation, country, not even in football, every sport.
सर मैं और मूसा भाई के चैनल पर हम वही बात कर रहे थे, अफ्रीका के जो कंट्रीज उनके बारे में बात कर रहे थे, कोचेस की. सो मैंने वहां पे वही बोला कि जब आपके वहां से किसी भी स्पोर्ट में जो टैलेंट आता है ना, वो अगर प्रोड्यूस होता है ना, तो फिर ये जो बाकी प्रॉब्लम्स है ना, वो सारी चीजें साइडलाइन हो जाती है. इंडिया में दिक्कत वही है कि आपके पास उस तरह का फुटबॉलिंग टैलेंट निकल के नहीं आ रहा है. अगर वो होता तो फिर तो आपके जो फेडरेशन के मसले है, बाकी जो सारे मसले है, वो सारे साइडलाइन, वो उतने ज्यादा प्रायोरिटाइज नहीं होते. आपका फुटबॉल क्योंकि वो अच्छा दिखता. सो ये सेम चीज है भाई, ऐसा नहीं है कि यूरोप में किसी कंट्री में जैसे सबके यहाँ पे जर्मनी में भी पिछले कुछ सालों से आप देखे जो मसले चल रहे, प्रॉब्लम चलती रहती है। इट्स नॉट कि भाई आप सब कुछ स्मूथ चलेगा, देयर विल बी अ प्रॉब्लम्स, बट इवेंचुअली वहां पे क्योंकि आपके पास वो टैलेंट बन के आ रहा है, जैसे हमारे यहाँ पे क्रिकेट में टैलेंट निकल के आ रहा है, इसलिए यहाँ पे जो बाकी प्रॉब्लम्स है वो नहीं होती डिस्कस। सेम चीज है भाई, पॉलिटिक्स वहां पे,
It's
पॉलिटिक्स
a
हर जगह पे है भाई,
it's
आप उसके
you will not be getting rid of the politics no, in sports. That's I think the biggest problem that you have in sports these days. So therefore that challenge remains. No? Sports may I don't think you can remove politics from that. Wait 1 second, what's this? Samat says Shahrukh wants to own Mohammedan Sporting. Samat, I've heard this thing now a few times, but I've never heard anything from people close to Shahrukh that actually there's been any talks. I think Mohammedan Sporting are out in the market to try and convince someone big to invest. But Shahrukh Khan, at the moment, nothing about that. Someone says, Onava, make it long, details, and easy to understand discussion. Resume if you're president or general secretary or anyone who can explain properly what is going on. See, I can try, but the persons who can most probably tell me something most probably will not be available for an interview. I know that because of time constraints and sometimes even net issues during the monsoons. But again, Mizoram has done a lot of things right. So therefore, to answer your question, can Mizoram set the example like Odisha said for hockey? Mizoram has already done that for multiple years. They've been doing that. So therefore, it's a very, very strong thing to say, listen, Mizoram has done a lot of things right and has moved in the right direction. So Mizoram, certainly, yes. Austria scored a second against the Dutch. Dutch are now third. Other question. If we don't show results, no sponsor will show interest. Even when we showed results, nobody came forward last year. That is the reality.
That is reality.
That is reality. Someone says, everybody says Argentina is not good without Messi, but people forget that has been in 4 out of 7 international tournaments. Some players were playing in Argentina Prima Division. See, Argentina is a developed football country, and Messi is that exceptional talent. A world-class player who adds even more on top of it. So therefore, if you're talking about those things, Argentina is a good side, yes, but Messi is that X factor. That is something which we, someone says, talking about accountability and responsibility and playing for the country, best example. Yeah, again, you're saying the same thing. Vijay Sagar signed for Interkashi, good sign for him. I think Amar, if he has, has he done that? I haven't seen it.
मैंने भी नहीं देखा कहीं पे न्यूज़.
So if Vidyasagar is signed for Interkashi, I think it would be good because he would get the opportunity to play regular I League football, and he's done well in the I League, right? So therefore, yeah. So therefore, let's wait and see. Someone says Mohun Bagan buying all top Indian players all just to lose and draw to Vasundhara Kings. They will not be playing Vasundhara Kings this year. Football says India. I've heard a CFL player playing 2 matches in one day in Cape football, so I don't consider this banning of local tournaments as a bad step. Exactly, that's the point, right? These players are playing. Some of them are playing as much as possible to earn money, and they are not earning bad money. So therefore, again, yes, if you can earn more money, you will do that. All of us do that in life, right? But again, you have to understand if you're professional enough, either you will play in the system or you'll play outside of the system. And I think a lot of these players play outside of the system because it suits them. Now, Hiren, don't you think?
Yes, exactly. I think वही मेन फैक्टर आपने जो मनी फैक्टर बोला, आई थिंक दैट्स एंड वो मतलब उनकी ओर से जेन्युइन चीज है वो, तो कोई भी जैसे आपने बोला, बट आई थिंक जो डिफरेंशिएटर होना चाहिए, जैसे आपने बोला कि या तो आप प्रोफेशनल सेटअप में खेलो या तो पूरा एमेचर लेवल पे आप मतलब क्या बोलते कि वो मतलब स्ट्रीट हम बोलते कि स्ट्रीट फुटबॉल या फिर उस टाइप के जो मतलब है कि वहां पे रादर देन गोइंग फॉर प्रोफेशनल. सो ये डिफरेंशिएटर होना चाहिए. अब ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि कभी आप एक ही सीजन में दोनों जगह पे 3-4 क्लब के लिए और सबके लिए खेल रहे.
Yeah, exactly. Moses Constantine handled Indian football better than Igor. I feel many argue on the ego. India played much higher ranked team. Your opinion? Where did we play higher ranked team? We also played high ranked team on the season. This discussion build facilities and infrastructure, but they did not build system to create hockey players from young age. Instead, they scout players from other states that train them. That happens to football as well, right? Mizos and Manipuris are being trained across India. It's a normal, again, within a country. We should not be talking about your player is from Odisha, or your player is from Maharashtra, or your player is from Punjab, or your player is from Tamil Nadu. As long as it's the Indian system, it should be fine. So therefore, I don't think it's an issue. Do you think talented players get disappear in Indian football system? See, that happens around the world. It's not an Indian phenomenon. The best footballers don't get through. There are reasons. Maybe someone gets injured. Maybe someone has this or that. Whatever. There are multiple reasons why a player makes it. It's not trusted by the coach. So therefore, these kind of things. So therefore, for me, if a team is able to enhance the talent of a player and give him a chance, and in the current Indian football system, very difficult. Would a young Messi, would a young, I don't know, would a Kobe Mainu get a chance in an Indian football club? Indian level Kobe Mainu, I don't know. But he or a Garnacho, Musiala, Wirtz, all these guys, Lamine, these guys, would they get a chance in India? I don't think so. I don't think, because also the talent coming through is not that good. So therefore, you will lose yourself. A lot of players lose themselves within, that is there. Dark Knight, Indian football lack quality human resource. Yeah, we could talk about that. I think that's really a problem. Management level, surely that's a question. And yeah, let's wait and see. I think, again, we are always hoping for the best, but at the moment, it's very difficult. I don't know. Acha, Amal says this Vidyasagar to Inter Kashi thing was tweeted by Marcus. So again, if Marcus has tweeted it, I guess it will be true.
Then it's a good thing for Vidyasagar.
I would agree. If he goes there, I think it's a good move for the player because he will get game time. Even though, of course, Inter Kashi will have at least one, if not two, good foreign strikers. So that's a risk that one has to take. Shomnath, do you think U17 squad is a bit better? Shomnath, I still don't know who all are in the under 17 squad, but what I've seen for a certain period of time, I would have said especially our under 17 World Cup squad was the best under 17s that I have seen because also of the exposure that these kids have received over 2.5 years. So therefore, for me, and therefore, that's a challenge. On Navo, there should be some incentive for state affairs who are performing like Mizoram FA. Yeah, but again, it's how do you performance parameters, or even for the AFF, all these parameters for for countries or for states or for districts is very difficult. So therefore, that's a challenge. So. Right. Someone says the problem with Indian coaching, local coaches, is that if a player who is 5 feet tall or above 6 feet is good with and he's good with feet, the Indian coaches force him to become a goalkeeper. See, I don't know, Samat, I think you're generalized. I don't know, Hiren, what's your opinion on this? Again, we talk about height. If you're short, you play in those positions. If that's how you put your squad together, then you don't have to do anything in football, right? You should try and see who is how good or how bad, and again, height, weight, build doesn't factor in. Yes, certainly goalkeeper should be taller.
But दिक्कत वही है ना, हमारे यहाँ पे दिक्कत वही है कि ग्रास रूट पे 6 से 12 साल में प्लेयर का वही देखा जाता है, जबकि वो बाद में देखा जाना चाहिए. फर्स्ट हाउ इज गुड विद द बॉल, उसका जो स्किल सेट और उसके ऊपर ज्यादा फोकस आपकी प्रायोरिटी होनी चाहिए. तो हमारे यहाँ पे सिलेक्शन क्राइटेरिया में वही होता है कि कितना तेज दौड़ लेता है, ये थोड़ी ना रेस है.
Oh, that's a huge problem. I feel that's a huge problem in Indian football. Mulas, do you think Indian football less taking care of the women's side? 100%. No, Hiren? Huge problem.
Yes, yes, I think huge. I think women's football में potential is there, and I think we had a great opportunity because we started earlier in women's football, where many countries you can say didn't focus couple of years back in women's football. हमारे तो पहले से काफी लंबे टाइम से नेशनल टीम में सब कुछ है, सो हमने उस टाइम से अगर किया होता तो आई थिंक मेरे को मतलब लगता है कि वी विल डेफिनेटली बी इन टॉप 40 or 50 country in women's football.
I agree. Shomant said something noticed that European or South Americans inherent love for football. They go to lowest league possible, not just national team. That's the difference. I think Somnath, very valid point, that players will go to lower leagues, and to me, it's a question of understanding where you will get the exposure to grow. Right, the player needs to understand. Of course, money is a factor, but for me also, I have to look at my long-term development. Again, an Indian striker has the problem of, will I get the exposure? Right? Will I get the opportunity? And then you have to be good enough to get that. I mean, this is not a new ISL phenomenon. A lot of people say ISL phenomenon. In the past also, you've had foreigners. What positions did the foreigners play? Striker and centre back, with 2 foreigners, and with 3 you added a central midfielder. So you have to be better than the others. So that's the reality. Someone says a woman becoming EFF president. Your thoughts? If she's qualified enough, I don't see a problem with that. If she has the knowledge, the impact, the connections, why not? But again, I don't know anyone at the moment. Again, do you know anyone now?
No.
So that's something. Kumar says, Onavat, you went to Mizoram State, which is the best season to experience Mizoram. What's good? Most probably November or maybe February, when it's not too hot and not too cold. That would be the best. Murray asks, how Sahal branded technique good compared to other players? The basic thought good in young age. Very simply, Sahal was born in Al Ain in the United Arab Emirates and learned his football over there. And Brandon at a young age went to an academy in South Africa. So therefore, it has been an issue. Someone said England fans want Sarah Weekman, the interim coach of senior men's team. Not going to happen. Goal scoring has been a huge problem for Indian football after Chetri. Well, it's been a problem even during Chetri. Chetri covered it up. One player did well, for me, that is something which I feel is very important, and we need to be the realities, right? So for me, even in the time of Baichung and Sunil, we always had 1 or 2 strikers. So therefore, let's wait and see what happens. Somna said, would you recommend a national commission that specially overlooks football in a serious manner, capable of managing the sports in a diverse country, to give a report to government? Why would I want the government involved? The government can't manage sports. Why would I want the government involved? Why would I want again? We are making it too theoretical in the sense of we want committees and this and that and everything. It won't work. The federation is an independent body, and the AFF should remain an independent body. It is not acted always independently. That's a different topic. But I think the AFF needs to be an independent body of whatever political influence there could be. I don't know. Hiren, what do you think?
Yes, exactly. I think ये देखिए एट द मोमेंट भी जो यहाँ पे आपके पास स्ट्रक्चर है, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की बात आती है, सब कुछ आती है, वो भी स्ट्रक्चर ऐसा नहीं है कि वो यहाँ पे बिल्कुल बेकार है, बट उसको इम्प्लीमेंटेशन नहीं किया जाता ना, जैसे सर ने बोला, दैट्स द बिग चैलेंज. आप नए कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की बात करो, कुछ भी आप नया कमीशन ला दो, कुछ भी ला दो, बट अगर उसका सही तरीके से इस्तेमाल नहीं करोगे या फिर जो लोग वहां पे होंगे वो सही तरीके से उसको उसके रूल्स को और उन सबको यहाँ पे एग्जीक्यूट नहीं करेंगे तो हाउ कैन यू गेट अ रिजल्ट? सिंपल सी बात हो है ना, तो दिक्कत वहीं पे आती है। ऐसा नहीं है कि पुराना कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन या फिर अभी जो स्ट्रक्चर है उसमें बिल्कुल कुछ नहीं हो सकता, उसमें भी अगर सही तरीके से आप इम्प्लीमेंट करो तो रिजल्ट मिलते हैं, बट बंदे ही सही तरीके से नहीं आते पहले तो अपने होके, फिर वो एग्जीक्यूट नहीं करते, तो फिर तो वो सारे आपको गलतियां दिखेंगी कि भी ये नहीं है वो नहीं है। देखिए रूल्स बनाने इजी है, बट उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करना, इनको फॉलो करना, दैट इज द चैलेंज।
Very, very
कोई भी
difficult. Very,
कमीशन
very
बना लो,
difficult.
कुछ भी बना लो।
So therefore, yeah,
सर आई विल
it's a
लीव
challenge.
नाउ।
ठीक है. Thanks, Hiren, for joining in. Follow
ओके
Curious
ओके,
Harry, those of you who don't, and we will
गुड
catch
नाइट
up
गुड
surely
नाइट।
in the coming days. Hiren, thanks a lot. So as Hiren leaves, I'll try and do some of your comments before I end. Deepak Das say how long? Hello, on for a long time no see. Hello, Deepak. Good. Any update on new national team coach Supriyo? Nothing, Supriyo. I think it'll take a little bit more. It's now still the phase to apply for the job. Kumar says, no, I do not agree with you about Brandon. He's also not technically sound. He cannot even pass 5 passes around zone 14. He cannot shoot from zone 4 properly and cannot pass. Kumar, that's your opinion. My opinion is different. And let's leave it at that. We just need to identify the right people and put them in right places. Deepak, I agree. Murray, Qatar, China also spending so much. They're not good in FIFA level, but if they're decent African countries with less money, they play good in FIFA. Murali, it's not about the money. It's about the right things, right implementation level. That is the question. That's the challenge here. So therefore, that will be an interesting one to see what happens. Yeah. So as a Brazil drawing with Costa Rica, what has happened with Brazil? It's a team full of individuals. Yeah, that's the problem, right? Brazil is not a team at the moment. Very simple. We need somebody like an Abhishek Nair from Cake for Player, but his work and personal coaching has spoken for itself. We need similar people in football. Maybe Deepak. I don't know this gentleman, but maybe. What would a new coach take? To comprehend upcoming player from junior team and current senior team? He needs to understand. To me, is I think the understanding is what he has at his disposal. Young or old, it doesn't matter. No? The matter here is how good or how bad are the players. And to me, that's the real question. And if that's the real question, then to me, the coach needs to recognize who is good or who's bad. And that to me is something which is the key in regard to deciding on who would should be a player to play for the Indian national team and would be good enough. So for me, that's a challenge. That was a challenge. That is a challenge. That will be a challenge. And therefore, hopefully, we find the right player and and we'll see what happens. So therefore, yeah, that's a challenge that we have. Bye, Kumar, and yeah, let's nearly 1 hour, 20 minutes of a late live today. Thanks a lot for joining in, Samad Bhai as well, from my side. As always, like this video, share this video. Those of you who haven't, please subscribe to arunfoot and be part of the society, being helping me to grow. And sorry, little allergy today, so with sniffs here and there. But I'll be back in the coming days. So thanks a lot and good night, everyone.